I saw it with my own eyes. This sentence has long served as the gold standard of proof in the legal system. Data from the Innocence Project reveals a conflict between this assumption and the facts. 70% of wrongful convictions are caused by eyewitness misidentification. These witnesses are rarely lying. They identify innocent people and testify with absolute, sincere confidence. False memory is a natural byproduct of how a healthy brain organizes information, separate from intentional lies or pathological confabulation. The justice system relies on the assumption that the human brain acts as a flawless recording device, but the biological reality is different. Human memory does not function like a localized video file or a camera recording. Memory is a generative process. The brain must reconstruct past events in real time, building them from fragmented data. When data is missing, the brain automatically fills the gaps using logic, cultural schemas, and expectations. This reconstruction happens every time a memory is accessed. Recall is a process of real-time editing. This feature exists to help the brain extract meaning for survival, prioritizing a coherent narrative over a literal photographic record. The legal system demands exact facts from a biological engine that is only engineered to produce coherent stories. To trace the origin of a false memory, we begin at the crime scene. This is phase 1, encoding. During a high-stress, violent event, the body's biological response changes how the brain captures information. Survival instincts force the brain to allocate all attention toward the immediate physical threat. This creates the weapon focus effect. The brain diverts metabolic resources to track the weapon, leaving less energy to encode the surrounding environment. As a result, critical data, such as the precise facial features of an attacker, may never be saved to the brain. This is further complicated by a biological constraint called own race bias. Facial processing algorithms are less effective when analyzing outgroup faces, as the brain lacks the specialized neural training data required for high-resolution encoding. This is a physiological processing gap, not a moral failing on the part of the witness. The initial memory file created at the scene is incomplete, containing blank spaces that the brain must resolve later. Phase 2 occurs during the interrogation. Here, police questioning interacts with the hippocampus, which functions as the brain's best-fit pattern matcher. Through pattern completion, the hippocampus fills in missing data using context clues. It does not report an error when data is missing. It provides a complete, logical picture based on the available information. Standard interrogation techniques can inadvertently interfere with this mechanism. The brain organizes information in associative networks through a process called semantic activation. If an investigator uses a word like attack, related concepts are triggered. The signal bleeds over, causing the witness to visualize a gun when only a knife was present. This conceptual bleed causes the witness to substitute objects without realizing the memory changed. This is the post-event misinformation effect. Changing a single verb, asking how fast cars were going when they smashed instead of hit, alters how the brain codes the speed and the resulting damage. Interrogations often provide the very data points the brain needs to construct a false reality. Phase 3 involves trial preparation and the repeated rehearsal of the witness's story. Every time a memory is recalled, it undergoes reconsolidation. It becomes unstable and open to being rewritten. Multiple interviews permanently merge new suggestions with the original memory. At the synaptic level, this repetition changes the brain's physical structure. Through long-term potentiation, receptors open and connections thicken to store the information. A primary flaw in this molecular machinery is that it is blind to objective truth. Synapses strengthen based on repetition and the emotional intensity provided by the amygdala, rather than factual accuracy. This is further reinforced by the default mode network. This network handles both memory retrieval and future imagination. Repeatedly imagining a scene during trial prep can cause the brain to eventually code that imagination as a historical event. Rehearsing a story for trial strengthens the neural pathways of a false memory, giving it the same synaptic weight as a historical fact. When the witness finally takes the stand, the manufactured memory is complete. The prefrontal cortex uses a reality monitoring system to distinguish between historical truth and imagination. This system is overwhelmed by the strengthened synaptic pathways created during the trial preparation process. This creates a courtroom paradox. A witness's confidence is a measure of synaptic strength and social validation, not historical accuracy. By the time a witness swears an oath, their unshakable confidence may be a sign that their memory is biologically compromised. The justice system must update its procedures to match biological reality, prioritizing scientific rigor over human intuition. Procedural changes, such as double-blind lineups, can prevent investigators from subconsciously signaling a suspect to a witness. Courts should also record a witness's initial confidence level immediately, before the memory is corrupted by rehearsal and reconsolidation. Utilizing cognitive non-leading interviews can prevent the semantic activation of incorrect neural nodes. These technical reforms address a deeper truth about the nature of memory. Because the brain constructs our identity through these narratives, protecting the innocent requires a justice system designed to account for our biological vulnerabilities. Only by recognizing where the biological record ends and imagination begins can we ensure true justice.